Ben, I love how much is going on in Population 11. It felt part like whodunit, offbeat comedy, fish out of water dramedy with some alien stuff thrown in. What
Yeah.
was Andy like to play, especially in this Australian outback setting?
I mean, Andy was easy for me to play because I kind of was going through everything that he was going through in real time, sort of on a parallel track. I mean, the Australian outback is not that far away for me in my lived experience from being on Mars, from being in a completely different world surrounded by just a completely different type of human. And the accent and the words and the way of life and the weather and all of the homicidal animals. It was pretty easy to play, to do the like fish out of water American, what am I doing here kind of situation. So yeah, I just phoned it in.
I would say though, there's some great, like, I don't want to say gravitas, but there's some moments where you really feel kind of what he's going through, and that there's something pulling him that we don't quite know about yet, of course. And
Mhm.
I'm curious for you playing this great comic mix of comedy, dramedy, everything else. What centered him for you? What did you find you relate to with him?
I mean, on a macro level, just a hunger to survive and to get by and to be successful, and then also, we all have our family issues. Those are I don't know anybody who can't channel some sort of daddy or mommy issue. So that's really easy to get into as well. But as far as sort of toggling that line, that really delicate line of comedy and all the sort of the other genres, I think one of the important things about this show was pace. There were so many, and we had a lot of conversations about this when we were filming. Um, you, if you really give any of these characters, or specifically Andy, enough time to kind of sit in the gravity of the situation and realize the stakes of what's happening, we'd have an altogether different show. We'd have a very serious, dark show. And while we're dark, there was like a levity to it, and I think that's because it was a hamster on a wheel. Like, you just have to keep going. Yeah, this person just died, or I just found out this awful thing, or maybe my life is about to be ruined, but I don't have time to think about that. I've got to get to the next thing, which I think is a real help for comedy when you're doing comedy as dark as this.
How would you describe his journey? Like what you can tell us, of course, without ruining anything here.
God, well, that's tough because literally every episode is there's a twist and a spoiler and a reveal. Um, but his journey is it's twofold. He's trying to understand, repair, or at least examine a past, a very important familial relationship. He's trying to understand his dad, why his dad left, where his dad is, who his dad is. And so that's sort of one track. And then his other track is, I got to get this money, or I'm screwed. And so a lot of stakes on both tracks.
What was this cast like to work with? Because you've got some great co-stars, including Perry Mooney as Cassie, who's phenomenal right out of the gate.
Yeah, the cast was amazing. I mean, the cast was I was as soon as I came on board, I tried to be as heavily involved in the casting process as possible, because a show like this is made or broken. I think it's an incredible. You start with an incredible script. Phil Lloyd is great, and the other writers that he had in the room are great. But um, it's one of those really, really sort of malleable kind of scripts where, like, the wrong actors and the wrong director could make it, because it's so about tone. Like, the music could screw this show up, and I love the music that they found. It's such a strange and bizarre soundtrack. But the actors, start with the actors, and a lot of them are just like legendary Australian actors who've been doing it for a million years, and then others like Perry were relatively green, and this was kind of a new thing for them, and they killed it. Everybody just 10 out of 10. They understood the tone. You have to be able to get that tone, that, like, we're joking, but I'm holding a gun kind of tone. And there's not a lot of actors, I think, that can do that. And it was amazing to see all. And I think that's just a testament to Australians and their level of humor and how dark it can be.
And even just that sense of place, because I mean, I'm sure you've got some real locations and some studio locations here and stuff, but it always felt like you were firmly set in the Outback, and making that feel real is a testament to what you've kind of done here.
I mean, no studio locations, I don't think. I'm trying to
No,
remember.
none, really.
There was a little, what did we do in Sydney? As far as I remember, pretty much everything was very authentic. We faked some things for other things, but I was in Derby, Northwest Australia for 3 months. There was no stop sign in that town. All the animals were out to kill you. I ate at a gas station for dinner most nights of the week. It was 1 billion degrees, and any body of water had crocodiles in it. So it was authentic.
That's amazing, because I was even thinking of just there's that one kitchen scene. And like I was even just thinking of that going, oh well, that's probably just a studio space, but you're telling me basically no, that's just
No, that was in episode 2. That's a real kitchen.
that's
There's
awesome.
a restaurant there that shut down that we used. It was right on the corner of that little intersection that we shot the majority of the show on. And yeah, just all real.
So in other words, it's not hard to be authentic when it's all authentic. Like
No, it was hard to switch off. I mean, Sundays were the hard part. Just because you leave. I'm used to leaving a show and on a weekend going back and having, my kitchen, or my kids for that matter. I can't figure out which one's more important, but um, there you wrap and you have a couple days. You're doing a bunch of work on the weekend too. You have a couple days and you're still in. I still walk out the door and I hear there's like cockatoos screaming at me from the tree, and like a king brown snake in front of my house. That means I can't leave for a little bit because it'll literally murder me. So yeah, no, you can't escape the Outback if you're in the Outback.
that's very cool. Well, last thing I'll ask quickly is, what's one episode you can say that is going to blow people's minds? Is there one that you could say?
Yeah, yes, I would say episode 8 is the one. If I had to go back and watch one right now just to be entertained, it's 8. Without giving anything away, 8 was the most exhausting one to shoot. And there is a massive, massive chase and fight scene that involved so many stunts and a lot of sweating and danger. So yeah, eight's the one that I'm the most proud of because it's the one that I came home every day and just drank a full bottle of whiskey and went to sleep.
Well, thank you so much for the time. It was a pleasure chatting. The show is a lot of fun, but I mean also very interesting.
Thank you. Thanks. I'm glad you dug it. I look forward to other people in Canada checking it out.